Let's go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for taking time and making for the session. Last day, just a few more hours to go. I know we all have flights to catch. My name is Mahesh. I'm currently working as a distinguished engineer at Verizon. In terms of work, my focus areas are network APIs and edge computing. Today I'm here. I got this opportunity to talk to all of you about Camara. I will highlight some of the challenges in terms of network APIs that we are having and how, as an open source project, Camara is trying to address it and where we are as of now. Starting with, again, if anyone is following this, anyone who's following this space, you would have seen a lot of press releases recently around the time frame of Mobile World Congress. GSMA put out that network APIs is potentially a $300 billion revenue opportunity for the telcos. Also, there's announcements from across the telcos across the world on building out and making these network APIs like in Camara compliant form. All of them are actively working on this. And this is a space of interest not just for the telcos, it's also for the ISVs, application developers, of course, for whom these APIs are meant for, but also API platform aggregators, hyperscalers who see value in probably exposing these APIs to their set of developers, as well as potentially build value-added services on top of the APIs. So again, a lot of buzz around this. Everyone is talking. Hope you have heard about this. If not, you hear it from me. In terms of data, again, network operators have a wealth of data. Commonly, everyone refers to it as a gold mine of data available with us. And I classify the data into three broad buckets. One is about the network, two is about the devices, three is about the subscriber itself. In terms of network, we know exactly the availability of the network, what kind of capabilities are available in any given region, like 5G, 4G, different capabilities, what is the kind of congestion that we could see. Also, the network performance in general at any being experienced by any given UV, a user as such. In terms of devices, again, we know what kind of devices are connecting, what capabilities they have, whether they can take advantage of 5G or not, whether they are in roaming. There's various aspects of the device that we understand. From a subscriber perspective, again, what plan they are on, based on that, what entitlements they have, what they could take advantage of. So with all this data, there's a number of potential use cases. Again, there are a few of them listed here in this slide. But there are many more use cases. To highlight a few, starting with a drone-based use case. Let's say a drone is lost. You want to figure out where was the last location it was at. We could do that. The drone needs a highly available network connectivity. We can figure out what is the most optimal flight path for that drone. It could be that you don't want a drone to fly in a zone which is highly populated, for example, or it's a high security risk zone. So we can monitor and alert if something is on those lines are violated. So multiple use cases from drone. It's actually very interesting. We did a POC with Inspired Flight, a combined POC among the US operators just earlier this year. Again, announcement as part of the Mobile World Congress. We can also look at the density of users. At any given area, it could be with respect to sending notifications from any disaster perspective, or let's say it's a crowded venue, we want to send out some specific information which could help them. All that is possible. With the network performance data that we all have, we could make that available to the application developers so that they can further fine-tune the application, ensuring their end users are having the best experience. Quality on demand, a very, very popular. There's a lot of POCs done by multiple operators on this. A very simple use case, but very powerful one was what we all might have experienced, like trying to pay by our card in a very congested area where the machines are using the same network as all the mobiles around, and the payments just don't go through. So in scenarios like that, we can take advantage of quality on demand, ensuring those transactions are able to get passed even though in a congested region as such. Again, multiple use cases. Fraud detection and prevention is again a very popular use case. There are capabilities for SIM swap, device status that are being worked on and available as part of Camara, which we are looking at. So again, some of the capabilities that we can enable as part of the data and capabilities available within the network. So we have a wealth of data, gold mine of data. We have a lot of use cases which could use the data. And telcos have been developing the APIs for a long time. We have the expertise on how to develop these APIs. So what is really stopping for the telcos already to capture the 300 billion market? There are multiple challenges, again, to list a few of them. First is scale. It's not just enough if one or a few set of operators are making these capabilities available. From a developer perspective, they want to make the app available on App Store, Android Store. They want users across the world to use it. Like everyone wants to be a unicorn, right? That's the ideal goal. So if they are building any of the services on top of the network APIs that we are enabling, it needs to be available across wherever the users are for their apps. So very key, important step, a major blocker if it's not available. And consistency, like one is the capability being available. The second aspect is it works, the same API works in a consistent manner across all the telcos. Again, it's not just from a developer. Even we heard use cases from car manufacturers where it's manufactured in one location, transported to a different location, or the user is driving across continents. What kind of, are they able to give the consistent capabilities as they drive through? Simplicity, this again, the application developers, they are experts in their own field. They might be game developers, whatever that they're building on. They shouldn't have to really learn about the telecom complexity, network complexity. When we initially started building out these APIs, even within Camara, there was use cases like we had references to UE, user equipment, which we also got used to. That was one of the parameter names we used, MSISDN. It was a good learning process and feedback where we eventually changed it to like device, phone number, something as easy to understand as possible for end users. Accessibility, one aspect is, yeah, they actually participate. They know where this API spec is being developed so that they can participate. And also having access to it via various channels. It could be via the operator or via the platform that they are more comfortable with, various aspects in terms of accessibility. And demand-driven. So we, with the data that we have in the network, we can think of certain use cases, but getting the feedback from the actual customers, actual users, is the ideal way for us to plan which APIs. And again, this is a major area getting addressed as part of the Camara open source project. To address, again, the list of challenges, GSMA partnered with Linux Foundation to start the Camara project. Focus was simple, intent-based APIs, which is open source, so available for any telco to use and implement across the globe without worrying about the patent infringement aspect. There's a lot. Some of the APIs also have a reference code. It's not a mandatory requirement from Camara. It's an optional one. So again, makes everyone's life easy if that's something available. In terms of the API, the scope for Camara APIs, it's always, we refer it as service APIs, intent-based, targeting very specific developer intent. Again, simple, easy to use. An aspect of what we care for is also the regulation, data privacy. Even though the regulatory rules are different across the globe, there is accommodations made so that each one of us, while implementing it, can care for the local laws. Again, facilitating the actual integration. One aspect of when any API is developed, is also what is the technical feasibility for it, is it really feasible, and what are the underlying standards that the API can be built on top of it. All this information is captured in standardized documentation across all the APIs that is being worked on within Camara. As part of Camara, again, we had focused on building out the service APIs. I covered some of the things that we are looking at, but it's not enough to just build out these APIs which are easy to use. There are the whole ecosystem. Major work is also being done as part of GSMA Open Gateway. The additional things that is being cared for as part of Open Gateway is identifying what those potential APIs are in terms of the data is collected from various sources. They go through a prioritization process, and then the concept is referred as different drop numbers. So a bunch of APIs which are identified, prioritized with all the inputs gets into a particular drop and channeled to Camara for the actual API specification development. There's also aspect of East-West federation in case of roaming. When a user is in a roaming state, how can they still ensure they can take advantage of the network capabilities, network APIs? It's also looked at from a technical feasibility perspective, what is available or something from a roadmap perspective. All of these things are being cared from a GSM Open Gateway perspective. And parallelly from TM Forum, the operate APIs. One aspect, again, the common set of APIs are being built, but how is the user experience to get access to these APIs also is being standardized as part of the operate APIs led by TM Forum. This takes care of how a developer can get onboarded, can get the API tokens on how they would use it, authorization, authentication. There's also a big aspect of consent management. A lot of the data that is being made available as part of this API might require consent, again, based on the local regulatory laws. How would that flow be? All of that aspect is being cared for as part of these standards. A key point I want to again highlight as part of this slide, what you see all the way in the bottom, specification by doing code, not documentation. Because GSMA has attempted this in the past, but this time, and has failed. But this time what is being done differently is it's by API specification. It's not documentation which can be interpreted differently. API specification which can be run against linting rules that's defined, and we know exactly whether it's conforming to the standards or not. More detailed view of how the different forums are working together. Starting from all the way in the bottom are the core network capabilities. Again, it's not just the network capability, it can be generally any capabilities has available within the telco infrastructure. A set of transformation APIs are built on top of it, on top of the standard 3GPP, for example, and they take the form of the service APIs as defined by Camara. TM Forum, again, I covered the internal operate APIs, which standardize the developer experience of getting access to it and how they get authorization, all aspects of that. In the top, which is the third-party domain highlighted in pink, there's multiple ways in which they can get access to this. It could be directly, a large enterprise customer could have relationship with a telco, they directly go to the operator's marketplace and get access to this. Or it could be potential that they go to a third-party marketplace. It could be hosted by a ISV SI, it could be a hyperscaler, anyone who would play that role. They can get access to the same set of capabilities across multiple telcos via this common platform. And we do expect the apps generally would go to the third-party marketplace rather than directly integrating with each endpoint as provided by the telco. So these are the few different ways. There is a white paper that was published. The link is available here. Again, the whole presentation is available on the website. Highly encouraged to read the white paper. Very, very beneficial. from a launch perspective, again, the planning was for Camara discussion with GSMA started way back in 2021. Unfortunately, I was not part of it back then. And there was an official launch in Mobile World Congress Barcelona 2022 with 22 launch partners with the logos that you see here, again, supported by GSMA and Linux Foundation. It's been rapidly growing. The latest numbers, again, like 87 named partners. There are a lot of companies which have already registered and taking active part. Some of them still not registered, but still taking part. 900 plus people who take an active role on GitHub Camara project in some form or fashion, either giving feedback or actually contributing to the API specification updates. So a lot of interest across the globe. Okay. I want to talk a little about Camara process itself, how it's followed for everyone's benefit if you're looking to join and start taking part. There's one funnel I talked about in terms of how APIs are channeled through GSMA Open Gateway. It has a different drop process, and new API requirements are channeled to Camara. There's also anyone can come in and put a proposal for a new API. And there's a specific working group within Camara, referred as the API backlog group. That takes care of, there's a standard template which anyone looking to propose a new API has to fill it out, common set of responses. And that goes through a review process. There's bi-weekly calls, everyone participate, anyone can join these calls and ask their questions. People who can't make it on that time can still take part offline via GitHub. So there's a multiple iteration process to get all the clarity. It potentially could be that there might be some active work already happening, overlapping with a new proposal, multiple reasons to vet out the new proposal. And once that process is done, the API proposal is sent to the technical steering committee within Camara. It's a small group. I believe it's about 20 people on the technical steering committee who review it, again, ask questions. If need be, the person who has made the proposal could potentially talk to the TSC to give the clarifications required. And once it gets okay from in the TSC, it could potentially be a completely new API, or it could be an enhancement to existing APIs. Two paths that can happen. And as part of developing each of the APIs, API specification is one aspect. They have to, and all API specifications have to follow the standards as defined within the commonalities working group. Again, within Camara, strongly, like a lot of participation. And follow the common standards during API specification development, but not only limit to it, you also create automated test cases, the standard documentation as per the process defined, any optionally a reference implementation, or at least a detailed documentation of how potentially it could be implemented is what is expected as part of the API specification as well. And everything is on GitHub, open, accessible to anyone. Just feel free to browse GitHub. What I mentioned earlier, that there are about 22 plus active API streams that are in progress right now. I won't go through each of it, but I did plan for some time for questions, if any, and I can take during that time. Multiple API showcases. Again, like this is being done across the globe, and a lot of these presentations are not a single operator. It's a multi-operator showcasing the power of having a common standardized set of network APIs. Again, there's a lot of things which are in progress, some of them which need more focus than others. One is it always helps to have a healthy backlog of API proposals. And being in sync with what is being looked at in terms of the hyperscalers, and in agreement between CSPs and hyperscalers always. Governance process, we have a defined governance process right now. Again, it's always an iterative process to look for improvements. There's a lot of focus on lifecycle management of the APIs, versioning of them. What do we do from a backward compatibility perspective? This is a major chunk of work that is being actually done as part of Camara right now. We recently released some kind of a lifecycle proposals as well, if anyone is interested. Again, the last one point is about the API aggregators via a common set of standardized APIs based on TM forum. The APIs have been shared as part of TMF 931, I believe. There's some more way to go in terms of adoption, getting feedback, revising that. So these are, if anyone is interested in joining us, which I highly encourage, and in any form, please use these links. It's a very active community, a lot of developers, great place to talk and share ideas. Okay, from a slides perspective, this is what I had. Any questions that I can take? Anyone? Yeah, please.
Hi, Mahesh. Great presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Mahesh from Nexia. I've been involved in this, like Telco API for quite a while. I mean, like 25 years ago, it was OSA Parlay APIs from, Etsy standards, etc. And I'm quite familiar with the concept of opening the network through APIs. But what I would like to learn more about is how is the whole workflow is going to go through. I mean, imagine, like, as far as I understand, the goal here is to reach out the long tail, just like the app stores did over the course of years. And how are things going to work here? Assuming that I'm a young boy at high school, and I want to build an application on top of this open APIs. What do I do?
Okay. A key point of what we are trying to do is make it simple to use. That's a big aspect of simple to use and highly available across the telcos. That's a major problem which is not addressed as of now. And the second aspect is making it available where they are in the form of API aggregators. So again, we are looking at most apps getting deployed on the cloud, and we are in constant conversations with the hyperscalers who are going to expose these set of capabilities as part of their platform, the ecosystem which the developer community is already used to or happy using. So it could be the APIs in the raw form exposed by the telcos, or potentially the CSPs, the hyperscalers, can create more wrappers around it, make it much more easy to use, and make it probably create SDK around it. And that's where I see the journey going, and hopefully that happens, and make it really easy for any app developer to integrate.
Okay, I mean, I was also kind of referring to there to be a need for a service brokerage kind of thing, right? And discover, find, and bind. So I'm dreaming of a central place where people are just going to expose their API, every other operator or hyperscalers, whoever has something to offer, they'll just gonna publish their APIs to that central piece of service broker, and then we expect that to be advertised to the developer communities, so that people knows where to go, and people understands how to consume them. And this will require some sort of management, some sort of entity who is going to maintain this infrastructure, this service, this operation, overall.
Yeah. So if you are thinking on the lines of an app store for network APIs, I think there's some more way to go for it. Again, the use cases are very wide, and again, the users of it also, be it enterprise customer, app developers of different types, it is going to be very wide. For a foreseeable future, again, this is my opinion, that there will be different platforms providing this API aggregation functionality. And if you're looking at from a consolidation perspective, I think there's a long way for it. That's my opinion.
So yeah, you're expecting to have multiple addresses for people to go?
It will be one address, one endpoint, as preferred by the application developer. Let's say I am an application developer who has my app deployed on AWS infrastructure. So, and potentially AWS, again, I'm saying, not that anything official. Potentially AWS has these APIs available right there for that developer. So that would be the preferred endpoint they would hit. They would not have to go to each individual telco endpoints to make the integration.
Okay, yeah, I see. Thank you very much, Mahesh.
Welcome.
Any other questions?
Okay, if not, thank you for everyone's time today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.